So we got a package in from a company called XM Casi Plus. They sent us a 4-pack of their RGB path lights that we're going to be installing in the front walkway here. It's something that I have been wanting to add for the house for a little while now, and when they reached out and they said they wanted us to check it out, I was excited to have the opportunity to see what it's all about. We're going to go ahead and do the unboxing and get them installed. So we'll go ahead and open up the box here. Looks like we got a power brick and some instructions, a couple extension cords, a splitter on that one, 3 splitters and then 1 regular. Got the lights themselves. They just slide right in top there. And then the stakes. And these are metal. All the bodywork itself is metal, so that is definitely good to see. So install looks like it's gonna be pretty straightforward. We're just gonna figure out where we wanna put the lights, lay them out, bury our power lines, and then run them to our power block here. This is a power block and the controller in one. And they are relatively low power too, just a 3 amp 12 volt output and a 0.4 amp 120 volt input, so not too bad. So to start out, you're going to want to go ahead and lay out your lights to figure out roughly about what spacing you want between them and placement. Now you have about 8 feet of wire between each light, so you can space them out a pretty good bit, but you're going to probably want to have them a little bit closer together just to have a nice even layout. In my case, I spaced them about 4.5 feet apart, finding that my pathway was just about 12 feet long and I wanted to have one about 3 feet from the edge. So I ended up putting about 4.5 feet between each, and then about another 4.5 feet between the 4th light over in the corner. Now the first part you're going to want to do is go ahead and slide the stakes into the ground. This is really quite easy, especially if you have some soft ground. Do keep in mind if you have any rocks or anything like that, it will make it a little bit more difficult, but I was able to just shove mine right in the ground by hand. You could step on it with your foot to get a little bit more leverage, but it was not bad. I slid mine right into the locations where I'd measured out, and then I just placed the light directly on top of the stake itself. It just slides right in, with a little slot in the back for the wire to hang out. And I did use a level here just to make sure that the lights were straight up and down. Obviously, it's going to look a little bit off if your lights are leaning at different angles. And I did notice too in the video, it did look like that one in the center was a little bit off, but trust me, I did check it with the level. I think it was just the camera angle. They actually did line up pretty good, and they do look really good in person. Next, I went ahead and got the wires laid out, everything connected up, made sure that you got all your rings in there. I did notice that one of the O-rings actually fell out. I had to go back and dig around in the box. Ended up being right in there. I found it, but this is definitely something you want to consider on the connections. If one of your O-rings happens to be missing, it is going to be a problem. So you want to make sure all your white O-rings are in place when you connect all the connections together. That will keep everything watertight. And then next, I just started burying the wire. Now, in my case, this was a mulch walkway, so I was able just to pull back the mulch by hand and bury the wire underneath. I did use landscape stakes to secure it in place, just to keep the wire down so it didn't try to come back up, and that worked quite well. But you have to consider your circumstances. You may need to dig a little bit deeper. I had the shovel out there, but I ended up not really needing to use it. But you definitely want to have that wire buried so that it's not sticking out, and it's not a tripping hazard for anybody. And any excess wire you get, you can just basically just double it up and bury it down with the rest of the wire. It doesn't seem to cause any problems. And then I just finished up by running the extension. The extension is pretty long, so I was able to get from that first light there all the way to the porch on the outlet. I actually did not need an extension, but you will have to consider this. It is possible that you will need an extension cord or something like that to get the power to the controller. Definitely something to keep in mind. But in my case, the extension was actually quite long and I didn't have any issues. I just ran it alongside the bushes. That way it was nice and covered, and then up to the porch where the electrical outlet is. As you can see, the angles are quite adjustable. You can have light shining in either direction. Now, in the case of mine, my pathways are a little bit long, so I do want it to shine the entire way to the pathway up to the driveway. So this angle is going to be perfect for me right up across this line, but you can do it any way that you want to do it. So for the app, the first thing you want to do is locate the XMCosy app in your app store. So once you start up the app, you're going to want to make sure your lights are still in pairing mode. If they are not, if you just unplug them, plug them back in, they should start flashing. And that's the indicator that they are in pairing mode. So next thing we're going to do is add a device. And it should find them relatively quickly. Go ahead and hit add. It is a pretty familiar looking app if you remember our Lumery video. So if you do have Lumery products, this app should be pretty easy to learn and navigate. But same basic idea, you're going to want a 2.4 gigahertz connection. Go ahead and type in your password in the Wi-Fi. Hit next. And then it will successfully connect after a couple seconds. Go ahead and hit done. And now we are connected to the app. Now, as you can see, I got white here on your main page. You can adjust the brightness up or down depending on what you're looking for. As you can see, even down at 1%, that's pretty usable. That's not bad, but you know, you go clear up to 100%. The output is pretty good on these, so they definitely don't feel cheap, at least for the output. You have the color section here. Now that is where you can choose what kind of color you want. Just basically click up on that wheel up or down, depending on what color range you're trying to shoot for. And then once again, you have your brightness slider here where you can decide what brightness level that you want it to be at. Beyond that, there are some quick options down here at the bottom, depending on any preset colors you might want. If you're just looking for basic color styles, that would be a good way to go. You also have the pre-programmed scenes, and these are basically just, they rotate between different colors. And you know, there's a lot of presets here, so I would say, you know, for most people, you can probably find what you're looking for in this area. You know, it's Christmas time here, so that's probably what I'll run until the season's over. But at the same point though, if you want to do something a little custom, maybe your favorite football team or something, you can go ahead and do new scene. You can label it and you can add whatever colors that you want to. If you click on flash, and it will flash it back and forth between different colors. And the same with breathe. Breathe is more of a gradual shift between the colors, whereas flash, it's just shifting between each color. And you can add up to 8 colors for each of those modes and set them independently, whatever color that you want to set for each of those. Like I said, in my case, I probably won't use the custom colors a whole lot, but maybe in the future. And it is very nice that it's there. You have the white, the color, whatever side you want, static, breathe, and flash once again. I think in my case, I'm just going to go ahead and go with the Christmas for now. Next up is the music tab. Now you will probably have to grant access to the app for some of this stuff. Your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the microphone connection as well for the music app here. Now this would be a case where I push play and it's picking up my voice, and it is actually dancing the lights and bouncing them around according to the input that I have. So I mean, the same would be true of like music or something like that. If you're outside, maybe this is in a backyard and you got a big get together with music going on, you could sync it to the music, just keeping in mind that your phone would have to be connected to the app, and most of the time the screen has to be on for it to work right. I don't know that part for sure. And then the last section here would be your plan schedule. Basically, what do you want it to do and at what points? So like in my case, I'm going to go ahead and set a schedule, and I want to set it that at 5 p.m. because it is getting dark pretty early around here. I'll set it at 5 p.m. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We are going to have the lights turn on. And you do have a few different options here. You can do turn off, turn on, and dim, and then turn on and set the scene. And set the scene, you will actually be able to just go in here and choose which scene you want. So for right now, I'm actually going to be using the Christmas, so I'm just going to go with that and confirm. And once again, this is a great opportunity. If you want with the app, you can go ahead and go in there and you can set it to where that it will turn on Sunday. It'll do this show. On Mondays, it'll do this scene. On Tuesdays, it'll do this scene. Wednesdays, it'll do this scene. Even down to the hour. Maybe you want it to do a certain scene for a certain period of time and then switch to another scene at a certain time You can do all that within the app too. So there's a good bit of flexibility in what you want to do. I'm a little bit more basic, so I'm just going to have it turn on, do the basic scene that I want it to do. Once the Christmas season's over, I'll probably switch everything back to like a white color. That way it is doing what the main purpose of the lights is, and that is to light your pathway when you're walking up to the house. So it will be nice to have, you know, that multi-functionality. That's the big thing about RGB. For me, it just adds a little bit of extra festive color for holidays and things like that, you know, you don't necessarily get with just a basic color, which is, you know, one of the big focuses of this channel, is that kind of thing. As well as automation though, you know, beyond that, we do have the built-in timer here versus having to put your lights on a timer if you were to get just a basic plug-in light system. But we'll go ahead and save that, and then I'm going to add another timer, and this one will be a shut off. And right now I got all the rest of the lights shutting off at 1 a.m. so I'll do the same with this. Every day of the week, turn off and save, and that way I know that every day it will turn off at 1, it will turn on at 5, and when it turns on it will do the Christmas show scene. So that gives you an idea of the basics of the app there. And then once again, you do have the power button to turn them on and off if you want to on command. You also have the scene section here. Now this is going to be primarily more if you have other devices within your system that you want to kind of like sync up together. You can set the timers either direction, either way. You can set the timers here, or you can set the timers in the actual landscape lights settings. So in my family, we use the Alexa devices mainly, but you know, if you're using the Google Home or in a lot of cases the Apple Home system, I don't believe that Apple Home system works with this, but I do know that Alexa and Google will. So in those cases, it's just simple Alexa, sign in with Amazon, and that will actually link to your Alexa. Now, it is assuming that you have the Alexa app installed on your phone, but most people with Alexa already have that, so that shouldn't be an issue. And there you go. It gives you a couple ideas of things that you can say to get the Alexa app to function with the lights, but now it is connected. So that gives you a pretty good idea. You know, I mean, they are pretty basic in the sense that, you know, it's not addressable and there's only so many lights to them, but I mean that it pretty much is what it is. They're not whole house lighting systems. It's not something that's to light your pathway, and it's to, you know, bring a little bit of festivity to the pathway itself. You know, as you've seen some of the other videos that we've done in the house, I've got the curtain lights up right now. I've got the outdoor lights on the house that'll probably stay up year round, and you know, those are really nice, but this is a really nice addition just to bring a little bit more light to the house. The same thing as we did with the spotlights in the backyard for landscape spotlights, and those were a really nice addition as well. So it's just trying to bring a little bit more color, a little bit more light, but at the same point, these are all functional as white. And you know, most of these lights will be white in my case on the off season, but the ability to push a button or tell Alexa what to do and, you know, change it to something else is really cool, really nice. I think personally it's worth the extra cost in the long run, and this is a quality system. This system does look like it will hold up very well. Install was not very bad, as you saw, you know, burying the wires and stuff. That's definitely a part of what you're gonna have to consider with it, but there is plenty of wire, so you can run them fairly stretched out if you need to. And I do like the swivel heads, the ability to change the angle and the direction of the output in the event that, you know, you need to illuminate both sides. That is very easy to do with this system. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it helped to explain the system a little bit better, and the offering from XM Casi. And they do look really good in front of the house on the pathway. I think the wife has been kind of indifferent about most of the stuff that I've put up. She's not quite as excited about RGB and color flow and things like that as I am, but she did really like the pathway lights. That was something that she had been wanting for a little while. So it was really nice to get it on the house, and you know, the added ability of the color and just the quality of them overall. You know, it's really easy to get caught up in price point and looking at a product and saying, well, you know, this price is cheaper and it'd probably do well enough. But as most of us know, you know, sometimes you get suckered into buying cheaper products and then you realize later on they're not quite up to snuff. I don't feel like that is going to be the case with these. These are solid. The aluminum, the metal frame. Obviously, the big test of time will be rain, weather, things like that. Does it get to it? Does it affect it? Does it hurt it? I don't feel like it will, but you rest assured that if there are issues, I will make it apparent in future videos or things like that, because, you know, the last thing I want to do is recommend to any of you guys something that doesn't quite hold up to snuff. So we will see. We'll play it out here. So thanks for watching the video, and definitely subscribe and like if this is the kind of stuff that you're into. We'll catch you on the next one.